Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today's Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. It was certainly nice to have a day off yesterday, but it's also important to understand why. Let's go to Barbie for a brief history of the importance of Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta in 1929. He received a doctorate degree in theology and in 1955 organized the first major protest of the civil rights movement, the successful Montgomery bus boycott. He advocated nonviolent civil obedience to racial segregation. The peaceful protests he led throughout the American South were often met with violence, but King and his followers persisted and the movement gained momentum. He appealed to the Christian and American ideals and won growing support from the federal government and the Northern whites. In 1963, he led his March on Washington, in which he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" address. In 1964, the civil rights movement achieved two of its greatest successes: the ratification of 24th Amendment, which abolished the poll tax, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibited racial discrimination in employment and education and outlawed racial segregation in public facilities. In October of the year, King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In late 1960s, King turned to his efforts to win economic equality for poor Americans. By that time, the civil rights movement had begun to fracture, with other activists rejecting King's vision of nonviolent integration in favor of African American self-reliance and self-defense. In 1968, King intended to revive the movement through the interracial Poor People's March on Washington, but on April 4th, escaped white convict James Earl Bay assassinated him in Memphis, Tennessee.
You never know what surprises you'll find when you shop at thrift stores or flea markets. But our next story is not just about what was found, but what was returned to the original owner. Michelle has that story.
In Owosso Township, Michigan, Howard Kirby and his daughter-in-law were in for a huge surprise when they bought a used footstool sometime after Christmas. Claiming the stool didn't feel right when he sat on it, they unzipped the cushion only to find that $43,170 had been tucked away inside. Kirby was entitled to the money inside the cushion, but refused to keep it, opting to return the money to the stool's former owner, Kim Foth Newberry, who says the stool belonged to her late grandfather who passed away the previous summer. "This is crazy," said Newberry, who donated the money to a local charity.
Now it's time for announcements. Dance Club will meet today at 3 p.m. in the auditorium. New members are welcome to join. Come dressed to dance. There will be a French Club meeting on Wednesday, January 22nd, after school in room 3. Anime Club will be meeting on Thursday, January 23rd, after school in room 105. Send your special RPHS student a sweet, motivational treat for their midterm. Pre-order boxed treats attached with a sweet message for your favorite test taker. Candy can be picked up after school in the front lobby after their exam. $3 each, and candy choices include Starbursts, Sugar Babies, Sour Patch Kids, M&Ms, and Nerds. Examgrams can be purchased during lunches next week, or pre-order forms are in the office. The Future Health Careers Club will be having a special guest speaker on Friday, February 7th during third period. A registered nurse who works as a forensics nurse for the sexual assault team at the county prosecutor's office will be speaking. If you would like to attend this program, you must see Mrs. Haddad to sign up. The Art Club and National Arts Honor Society will be meeting Fridays after school in room 102 during the year. We are working on projects and sometimes exploring new media. Join us. The summer camp is seeking counselors. Looking to fill counselor positions at the high school level, $7 an hour, and college level, $10.30 an hour. Must have experience in one or more of the following areas: arts and crafts, batons, cheerleading, color guard, dance, digital gaming, drawing, fitness, lifeguard, robotics, technology, or theater. Also looking to fill position of adult custodian, which is $16 an hour. All applications are due by February 7th at 12 noon. Attention all juniors. Check your school email for an important message regarding the song suggestions for the Junior Gala. You can make suggestions via email or leave one in Ms. Hernandez's mailbox in the office. The gala will be held at the Westwood in Garwood on Thursday, February 27th. More details are to follow. There will be a bowling varsity match at 3 p.m. today versus Union. And at 4 p.m., basketball boys varsity game versus Abraham Clark home. At 7 p.m., there's a boys wrestling varsity match versus Somerville at Roselle Park Middle School. Tomorrow, January 22nd, at 3 p.m., there will be a bowling varsity match versus Scotch Plains Fanwood. And at 5 p.m., there will be a wrestling boys varsity match, JV, at 4 p.m. versus Elizabeth away. Although the weather has been cold, we haven't seen as much snow as we usually see, and New Jersey is currently experiencing a snow drought. Let's go back to Barbie for that report.
It's already 20 days into the new year, and many snow lovers across New Jersey are hoping to get snowfall at the end of the month. But unfortunately, January, being the heart of the winter season, is not expected to have much of the snowfall. According to the weather forecaster, the current atmospheric signs are pointing to a lingering snow drought in the New Jersey region. It looks like the pattern is kind of unfavorable for snow the next 2 to 4 weeks, said Sean Rowland, a meteorologist at the Weather Works Forecasting Company based in Warren County. A storm system is expected to make a run on New Jersey this weekend, and for now, it appears temperatures could be cold enough to bring some snow or sleet to the state's northern counties, but for most of the Garden State, the areas are favored to see rain instead of snow or sleet, as the temperatures are expected to remain above the freezing mark. Just a reminder for the snow lovers, a low snow January doesn't mean the rest of the winter will play out the same way.
Stay tuned and we will be right back.
When midterm's coming up, it's important to use your time wisely. Here are some tips for midterm review. Don't procrastinate.
watching. Have a great day and stay tuned for CNN 10.
CNN 10 is back on track today with reports on an impeachment trial, a mysterious virus, and a study on screen time. I'm Carl Azus, thankful to be 10 minutes of your daily screen time. All right, starting in Washington, District of Columbia. Today is when the impeachment trial of U.S. President Donald Trump ramps up in the Senate. It officially began on January 16th, but the rules for the trial are likely to be laid down today, setting the stage for the arguments to begin afterward. Democrats and Republicans are deeply divided over this issue. The House of Representatives, which is controlled by Democrats, formally charged the president with wrongdoing. The Senate, which is controlled by Republicans, is expected to find the president not guilty of wrongdoing. Last month, all but a few House Democrats voted to charge the American leader with 2 articles of impeachment. The first is the accusation that President Trump abused his power by pressuring another country to investigate the son of Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. The second is the accusation that President Trump broke the law by not fully cooperating with the House's impeachment investigation. On Monday, the president's legal team filed a brief, a 110-page response to the accusations. Lawyers for President Trump say the impeachment charges don't show he broke the law in any way, and they call the impeachment process against him a charade and an election year political tool. Their brief asks senators to quickly reject the House's charges, but how the trial actually plays out is unknown at this time. It could last for weeks, it could be over faster. One thing Republicans and Democrats are anxious to see is if and how the trial affects public opinion in the presidential election that's scheduled for November 3rd. 10-second trivia. In terms of total area, which of these countries is the smallest? Russia, Canada, United States, or China? These countries are listed in order by size, with Russia being the biggest and China being the smallest. It's still massive at more than 3.7 million square miles, and China is the world's most populated country, with more than 1,380,000,000 people. That's why there's some international concern about a mysterious new virus that's sprouted up there. The disease itself has been labeled a coronavirus. It's a type of virus that can cause respiratory problems. It was first detected more than a month ago in Wuhan, a province of central eastern China. So far, more than 40 people have gotten sick from it and 2 have died. Chinese health officials say most of the patients in Wuhan had been to a large seafood and animal market there, but because some of them had not been to the market, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control says the virus may be spreading from person to person. The CDC says this is not something Americans should be worried about, and that common bugs like the flu are much bigger threats. But health officials are planning to check passengers at 3 U.S. airports who've arrived from Wuhan, China.
China's President Xi Jinping says he wants, quote, resolute efforts taken to stop the spread of a mysterious and potentially deadly illness. That according to state media. They say President Xi stressed putting people's safety and health as the top priority. Meantime, health officials here in China now acknowledging that the new coronavirus has surfaced here in Beijing and in southern China. Japan, South Korea, and Thailand have also identified cases of the virus, all of which they say are linked to Wuhan, China. The central Chinese city is believed to be the epicenter of this illness. It causes pneumonia, and it can be deadly. Chinese scientists say it is in the same family as the deadly severe acute respiratory syndrome, known as SARS, but they advise it does not appear nearly as lethal. The World Health Organization says there is evidence of human-to-human transmission, and that an animal source seems to be likely the primary source of the virus. The many unknowns are sparking concern, though, on Chinese social media in particular. Some there questioning whether or not health officials are truthfully reporting all of the cases. But opinion pieces posted on Chinese state media are knocking down those claims, stressing that withholding information and underreporting cases would only negatively impact China. The illness comes as hundreds of millions across Asia are traveling for the Lunar New Year holiday. The festival is the largest human migration that takes place each year, and in recent years, more and more Chinese have traveled outside of China during the festival. And as a result, health authorities across the world are stepping up health screenings at airports and rail stations. Here in China, they've also begun distributing testing kits to multiple cities, and they established a daily reporting system for new cases across the country. China's foreign ministry is vowing to work collectively within Asia to fight this epidemic. David Culver, CNN, Beijing.
Pneumonia is an infection of the lungs. The infection can be from a virus, from bacteria, or from a fungus. People of any age can get pneumonia, but it's particularly serious when it's a baby or a child or someone over the age of 65. When people get pneumonia, the air sacs in their lungs can fill up with phlegm or pus. That means they're coughing up that phlegm and they can have difficulty breathing. Other signs of pneumonia include fever, fatigue, and chest pain. Doctors diagnose pneumonia in a number of ways, including blood tests and chest x-rays. Bacterial pneumonia is treated with antibiotics, and often patients stay home. Often they'll feel better in a few days or weeks, but they can feel very tired for more than a month. People with pneumonia sometimes do need to be hospitalized. Often it's because they're having such difficulty breathing that they need help, or their blood pressure, or their temperature, or their heart rate dipped too low. Doctors tell people who are recovering from pneumonia not to jump back into their regular routine too quickly. If they do, then complications from pneumonia can arise, and those complications can be serious or even deadly.
Screen time, children, and white matter all factor into our next story. Health officials are saying young kids especially need screens off and books open. The Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio recently conducted brain scans of children ages 3 to 5 years old. Researchers looked at their brain's white matter, an area thought to be linked to literacy and language skills, which help kids learn in school. What researchers found was that preschoolers who looked at electronic screens for more than an hour a day had less development in their brain's white matter than kids who had less screen time. Doctors also found that kids whose parents read to them scored higher on certain brain tests.
You know, but as we go into the new year, I think it's really about striking a balance. That's how I'd put it. That's the message I want to send. There was this recent study that actually scanned the brains of 3 to 5 year olds. They were 3 to 5 year olds who use screens more than the recommended 1 hour a day. And what they found is that these children had lower levels of development in the brain's white matter. That's an area that you're going to see right there highlighted in blue. They are areas that are critical to help develop language, literacy, and cognitive skills. So you can see the problem there when it comes to kids. Also, I mean, you know I'm a big proponent of making sure we get enough sleep. Screens definitely affect how quickly you fall asleep and then the quality of your sleep once you do so. I mean, just one email or just one text can take your brain from 0 to 60 in a split second and make it really hard to slow down after. U.S. teens spend an average of more than 7 hours using screens for entertainment. That's not even including their homework. That's 7 hours of not moving. Remember, inactivity is a disease. And look, if you look at all these things and they're not reasons enough to reduce your screen time, think about how it affects your relationships. This past year I went to Sardinia for Chasing Life, and I think one of the things that really struck me was the sense of community that people have and the community that surrounds their meals. When I was there, I didn't see a lot of screens out. It's hard to socialize if you're constantly looking at one of these.
Time for some fast facts. A standard Snickers bar has 250 calories, 27 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of protein. This one has more than that. It's the Guinness World Record-sized Snickers bar, made at the Mars Wrigley Candy Plant in Texas. The 4,700-pound chocolate reportedly took a week to make and has over 10 million calories, 1 million grams of sugar, and 170,000 grams of protein. but you're not gonna eat it unless you're a Mars employee and you don't drop the chunky good bar with your Butterfingers. Oh sure, some will think it's a 100 grand idea, bringing mounds of almond joy with every crunch, but betwixt you and me, baby, I'd ruther wait until payday to join the Three Musketeers in searching Mars or the whole Milky Way for one of those, whatchamacallit, healthy scores of until my Reese's peanut butter cup runneth over. Yeah, candy puns. They're always sweet, y'all. So are the students of Foothill High School. They're watching from Santa Ana, California, and commenting on our most recent show at youtube.com/CNN10. Thank you. I'm Carl Azus.